1045 ESPN Baton Rouge, 100.3 ESPN New Orleans.
It's always our pleasure when we can steal a few minutes from Saints quarterback Drew Brees, and he's good enough to join us now. Drew, thanks for the time. How are you?
Support grass.
My guess is he was recording something and didn't realize that we had potted him up just yet. Sit tight. We'll get to Drew here in just a second. All right. Take two. Drew, we appreciate the time. How are you? Take three. Drew, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
There it is, man. We appreciate the time as always, man. Hey, first things first. So I got the email today saying that you were going to be in town at an event. I don't want to speak out of turn, man, but can people meet you today?
Can people meet me today?
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm not at an event. I came up to Baton Rouge to see our walk-ons headquarters that we just opened up within the last month and a half over here off of Burbank, close to campus.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, man. With the basketball court full length in there. You and Brandon gonna hoop up in there?
Yeah, I think he's scared to take my own horse right now, but trying to get him motivated.
Hey, man, I was looking at your Instagram, and I don't seem like a creepy stalker here, but you've had a heck of an off season, like the ACMs, flag football, SeaWorld. Like, do you get do you take time in the off season and just decompress?
No, I'm on the go pretty much all the time. That's just kind of the way I'm wired. I always feel like there's work to be done, something to be accomplished. Set goals for the off season, just like I do for when I'm playing football. But obviously the off season is a ton of family time. Obviously I miss out on some of that during the season just because of our commitment to what we do and the time we spend trying to be the best football players we can be. But off season is time for me to be able to take the kids to school and pick them up and take them to practice and coach them. Coaching flag football right now. Actually, we've got our championship games coming up this weekend for spring flag football. I helped with lacrosse this off season as well. Watching my kids take up that sport. That's a great sport, and just again a lot of time with my wife and kids, and just enjoying those moments before we get back to work.
Yeah, we'll talk plenty of football here in just a second, but that football stuff, it feels like we do all the time. I've noticed the picture of you and your wife Brittany at the ACM Awards with the Red Solo Cup. Like, do you ever? That's pretty cool to be at an event like that. I was thinking about this. Do you ever go to an event like that and get starstruck, as people often are, I'm sure, whenever they might meet you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, it's funny the crossover with different in the entertainment industry, whether it be athletes or actors and actresses or rock stars or country stars. I mean, you're fans of them just like maybe they might be fans of yours. So when you have when our worlds intersect, and we walk in the ACMs and you see the who's who of the world of country music, and it's like the greatest concert you've ever been to as well, because everyone's playing their hit song. It's their best performance because millions of people are watching, and it's just one after the other after the other. And so it was a great experience for my wife and I. We had a blast. And it was funny because we were asked to, they had asked me to present an award, and so that's all I knew kind of going into the night was, hey, we're going to go and have a nice night in Vegas together and go to the ACMs, and figured we'd just kind of be sitting in the middle of the crowd. I'd go up and present my award and be all good. But I present the first award of the night, and so I'm kind of backstage, and they had taken my wife to our seats, and so I had no idea where we were sitting. And so it wasn't until I stepped onto the stage to present the first award of the night that I looked down and my wife is sitting front row. It was as if they put two seats right, in front of the front row, because just to her left is, Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, and then we're sitting next to Little Big Town, and I look to my right and it's Florida Georgia Line, and it's like, this is unbelievable.
So what? Give me a name of a celeb when you looked and went, oh my God, that's fill in the blank.
Well, I'll tell you what's fun for me is, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm, I think, growing up in Texas, and as a kid, it's the country music of the late 80s and the 90s, so it was
it was the George Straits, and it was the Toby Keith, and it was Garth Brooks, and it was Alan Jackson. And so they did kind of a throwback deal at the ACMs this year where they kind of went back and said, all right, 25 years ago, what was the number one hit song, right? So that would have been 1993, and I think that was Toby Keith's Cowboy, and then 10 years previous to that, it was Alan Jackson. It was awesome. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. And then they had, obviously current guys like Blake Shelton, Luke Bryan, and others, get up there and sing with those guys. So it just made it a ton of fun.
Drew Brees is with us, of course, on behalf of Walk-Ons. He was in Baton Rouge checking out their new headquarters today. By the way, every time I look on Twitter, it seems like they're opening up a new Walk-Ons. Like, do you have any idea, like, where they are as far as numbers and what the ambition is by the end of 2018?
Yeah, it's extremely exciting right now. We've got a goal to open up 18 franchises in 2018. So we call it 18 and 18. So we've got franchises all throughout the Southeast and Texas, all the way to Florida and into the Carolinas that we're looking at right now. We've got over 100 franchises sold, and like I said, should open up 18 of them this year. At least that's the goal. The ones coming up probably most recently are going to be Waco and Mobile. But listen, we're excited that there's such an excitement around our brand and our culture and what we're trying to create, with our restaurants and also the community involvement. And it's it's extremely exciting. I can't tell you how much fun it's been to be a part of it, and the leadership that's in place, starting with Brandon Landry and the entire team here. And really poised for great growth and great success as we go along here.
It's been awesome watching Walk-Ons grow over the last 15 years, obviously from Burbank, where you were today, to where they are now, which is just incredible to think. Drew Brees for a couple more minutes. All right, I got you here. I got to do the obligatory football stuff. Mark Ingram, have you spoken to him since last week?
Yeah, I have. I reached out to him. That was, unfortunate news, obviously, to know we're going to lose him for the first 4 games. But listen, I got all the confidence in the world in Mark. I know what he represents for our team. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time, and a guy that, when I come to work every day, I know exactly what I'm going to get out of him. And, he's a guy who I want to win for, and I'd say he's got the entire team behind him. And obviously we just look forward to getting him back. I mean, he'll be out. He'll be out for practices and stuff like that. We don't lose him until that week 1 of the regular season. So obviously he'll be around, and we'll have a lot of time together, and hopefully when he comes back, we don't skip a beat.
Do you want the organization to bring in a veteran running back for those first 4 games?
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen any of these young guys, besides Alvin Kamara and then Trey Edmonds. I know what we have there, but that running back position is obviously one that, you need a stable of backs. Those guys, it's a lot of wear and tear on those guys. So, you can't replace a guy like Mark Ingram, but you hope that you can, find a way to hold yourself over for 4 weeks. And it's not just the running back position that picks up that slack. It's other positions. It's the receivers and the tight ends and, the fullback, and you just have to mix and match and do things that, obviously those carries, those plays have to go somewhere else. And so you just find a way to manage. I mean, I feel like we've always done a good job of that, but, it does present a challenge.
Got 2 more for you. Number 1, 12 years in, how do you feel physically this offseason as compared to maybe a year ago or in the relative recent past?
I feel great. I feel great. I always approach every off season the same, and that is, what do I need to do to be the best player that I can be? And I look at my training habits. I look at my recovery. I look at my diet. I look at my sleep habits. I look at every aspect of my training, and I try to fine tune. Obviously I've got a good system that's worked for me for a long time, but and I've got a great group of mentors that I seek out every off season, and we kind of dive into every aspect of what I do to prepare for the season, and if there's new things to try, then I'll do that. Sometimes I kind of drop things out of the routine, add some others, but at the end of the day, it's about getting myself in the best position to go out and succeed during the season.
Last thing for you, Drew. When we saw Matt Ryan's contract, I think a lot of people collectively said Drew left money on the table. Any regret from your standpoint after seeing that?
No, not at all. I mean, I knew what I was doing. You know, I want my team to be in the best position to succeed, and I feel like we've got a great opportunity. I love our team. I think we've done an incredible job, you know, through our scouting department, Mickey Loomis, you know, from the top down in regards to going out and acquiring the right type of players and people, you know, guys that love football. They're smart, tough, intelligent, and you know, have great character and want to win. And we did that. We continue to do that this offseason with some of those acquisitions and those draft picks. So I'm just looking forward to getting back to work, getting back on the practice field, and seeing what type of team we're going to become.
Drew Brees, Saints quarterback, walk-ons co-owner at this point. Hey, whenever the first pickup game with Brandon goes down over at Burbank, I want to Facebook Live it if that's all right for our audience.
Absolutely. Facebook Live, the one-on-one matchup between me and Brandon Landry. I like it.
I have a
feel. He says he can still drain him from outside, so he said only horse. He said the legs are gone.
I was going to say, if you're going to D him up.
He's a spot shooter is what he is.
If you're going to D him up, he's in trouble, but he always had a nice stroke. Drew, it's good to visit, man. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us.
All right, man. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Drew Brees, Saints quarterback. Again, man, they got in touch today, obviously, because he's in town at walk-ons. You know that where Co-op is, for those that aren't from Baton Rouge, you may not be familiar with this, but where the walk-ons on Burbank is, which is right basically at the corner of LSU's campus, opposite the parking lot was the Co-op bookstore. It's a big, I mean, I don't know the square footage. I'm sure in a press release they might have it, but it's significant enough that they got a full-length basketball court in the headquarters. They basically bought Co-op, gutted it, and turned it into their corporate headquarters, and it's got the basketball court in there.